All right, I've opened up the machine, took out the motherboard, and so you can see the, this has a Toshiba monitor in it, Toshiba driver card. It has, who makes the drives? These are Epson drives? I forget now. We'll get to those. There was about four makers of monitors they use, and there was about the same amount of vendors of floppies that they used. There was a couple vendors for the power supply that they used, which was bolted in over here. This particular power supply was a California DC. So there is information on this board on adjusting it, but not on repairing it. And floppy drives you can usually find stuff on. There is zero information on the power supply board though. And unfortunately the power supply is dead. So let's take a look at that. All right, so everybody's going to say, well, it needs new capacitor. So I did replace that one Rifa, remember? It had this one cracked Rifa in it, so chucked him. I put a new Rifa in here that I stole out of an old power supply that I had, and so it went in. But let me show you what this thing does. So we'll put on a suicide cord here, put some AC on it. All right, I need to jump over the camera just a second. Okay, now I can reach. I can sort of reach around. Okay, now listen to it. Tink, 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 tink. Hopefully you can hear that. You'd say, oh, well, there's a relay that turns on when the machine warms up and the idle power supply section doesn't work. There's no relay on this board. The tink, 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 tink is coming from somewhere. And I don't know quite where yet. Let me disconnect this. So I believe it's this transformer going tink, tink. Now it may have its own relay in it to protect itself if it gets hot. And so there may be a short somewhere, which is possible. Now I could do a capacitor revamp on this thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 caps. Or what most people, so because there's no schematic for this thing, a lot of Kaypro enthusiasts have just said, you know, I don't care about the power supply. That's not Kaypro. That's just somebody else that bolted in. So why don't I just bolt something in? And so people get these things that have just what they need, and they put one of these in there. And that's what I'm going to do. I may come back to this board and maybe try to fix it in the future, but I don't think it's really worth my time and effort for what I want out of this machine. I can keep it as original equipment if somebody else ever wanted to put it back together again. But this particular supply almost makes the grade. This one is 5 volts at 5 amps, plus 12 at 2.5 amps, and minus 12 at half an amp. The one that I need is 6 amps, 3 amps, half an amp. So it's a little bit better than this one, but no more expensive than this one. They're like $23 to get a whole power supply. So yeah, so time and energy and reliability and all of that stuff, I'm going to drop another one in. So I've got to get one of those. I've got to get one of those on order. But yeah, there you go. There's no ICs on this board for the feedback and everything. I think it has to do with the circuitry over here, and I don't know. I did diode check everything and it looked good. I did use my ESR meter and I measured all the capacitors. Everything seems to be in fine nick, but it still doesn't work. So I'm going to check that out for a while. Let's see here. While I was at the store buying some other things, I need to replicate this connector here. See this connector? That is the big interface to the rest of the chassis. There's a big connector that plugs onto here in the box. And I need a connector that looks like this, and I couldn't find one at the store, but I did find these guys, okay? And you say, well, those have twice as many pins. Yeah, that's right, but so does the connector that plugs onto here. It has twice as many pins. So I'm going to use 2 of these to span the region, and this one just does AC, and this one just does DC, so that will make it handy too. Anyway, so I've got the connectors that I need, and I can keep this intact and just use that, so that'll be good. Let's see, what else did I buy while I was at the store? Oh, I know. Let me put this in a safe place. I looked for a keyboard cable, and I thought that I had found one. It's this one here. It's a 4-pin RJ, and once I got it home, I learned that it's the wrong RJ. I need an RJ22, which is the real narrow one. I think this is an RJ6 or something. I forget what it is. Anyway, I did find one. In one of their really old bins, but yeah, this is the real McCoy. It is the narrow 4-pin. This would have gone between your telephone and the handset of your telephone. This one would have been between your telephone and the wall socket. That's what this cord is for. But now I've got one of those. Probably we've had bazillions of those in the past, but throw them all away. Anyway, this is what I need, and it's black, and it's rubbery. It is 25 feet long, so maybe a little long, but it'll be fine. I'll use that as my keyboard, keyboard thing. And once the connectors, the coils in it, it's only 4 feet long with the coils in it. So yeah, it's not really 25 feet long. So that's a good deal. Oh, I know. I also bought this, which was right on the counter, which is nice, which is a lithium 3 volt. And let's see, where did I put my motherboard? I relocated my motherboard to a safe place. Just a minute. Oh, right in front of me. It's up here, out of camera. Can we zoom out? That's about all we can zoom out. Anyway, it is the right, it even says Panasonic lithium, look at that. So we will put that in there. The reason this is in there is for the real-time clock. So like I said before, the Kaypro 2X is not supposed to have a real-time clock, and it's not supposed to have a modem, but this one does. The real-time circuitry is this chip here and this crystal here, 32 kilohertz crystal, and the battery. And so there's a battery backed up real-time clock down here. And then this up here is 2 chips here that act as the modem. And then the other interesting thing about this board is this big connector here is for the hard drive. So, so you're saying, well, how come this board has so much stuff that's not loaded? Well, this is what was called their universal board. Their universal board was used on a whole bunch. They finally ended up saying, okay, we're gonna have a whole bunch of products, but they're all going to be based off of one printed circuit board. And so this is called the universal board. And the Kaypro 10, I think, whatever, anyway, had a hard drive. And the connector for the hard drive is here. Now, these 2 chips, and I think these 2 chips down here are just there for the hard drive, and they're loaded on the board. So I don't know why. They're not being used, but yeah, it does have some. These are just tri-state buffers, but yeah, that was for the hard drive, so that's in there as well. Anyway, very, very interesting. I think since I'm holding this thing in my hand, I think I'll go ahead and change out change out some capacitors and change out all the yellow things. And yeah, I gotta go in the house and put in an order for a power supply, and we'll get that going. The bottom of this thing is kind of insulated by kind of a cheesy single-sided PC board type of thing. So yeah, anyway, I'll get to work on that. All right, I got the battery in and replaced the capacitors with Nichicons. What else? Yeah, put the back on. She'll be ready to go back in and try to power her up sometime. Yeah, like I said, I need to go order some things. Here's some capacitors that came out. Should we test them? See if they're kosher or not. This is the I've already tested the battery. It's dead. But let's. I was kind of curious. These capacitors are usually just fine, but just general principles. You want to replace them, right? That's my philosophy. While you're here, do it right once. Okay, let's go here and here. These are supposed to be 47. These are supposed to be 47 microfarads. 51, perfect. $49, perfect. So you can say, well, why'd you replace them? Because I can. Because that makes me feel good. Because I have nothing better to do. Yeah, they're fine. They were fine. These were ELI. And anyway, they're going in the trash can now. They've lived out their useful life.